Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Miss Camay Show. I am your host, Miss Camay, and I'm broadcasting live from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. And today I have one of the biggest Seattle superstars, one of the biggest Seattle showmen on my show today for an interview. We're here to talk about his campaign for the 37th district in Seattle. Welcome to the Miss Camay Show, Kun. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Super excited to be on. And yeah, it's a great time. What a time to be alive.
Yes, yes. You know, for those of you who don't know, Kun and I call him Kun Luv because that's how he's so renowned in the Seattle area, in addition to his government name, his full name, Shikhandi Salisbury. I've known Kun for many, many years. I think I came to know you from the infamous Virgo party about 11 years ago in Seattle. I was like, what? They're having a party for us, for Virgos? Really? And I mean, you've been doing it strong, 25 years in the making. You are very well known in Seattle. You're an honored public servant with the city of Seattle since 1997. These are things about you that I never knew. I only knew you as DJ Kun Luv, you know, showing the city love, putting on for your city. So impressed with your background once I started researching, you know, really who the man is behind the campaign, right? You have a diverse perspective and creative approach to problem solving and community improvement, coupled with a record as an intergenerational team builder and ambassador, bridging gaps between and serving elders and youth. So talk about that a little bit about your background. I've also got some accolades, you know, the board positions that you've held, and we can get into that a little bit later. But emphasize that, because we talk about Seattle. It's a beautiful city. It's in the Evergreen State. We have youth, and then we have our elders, and a lot of times there's this gap between those two generations. So talk to me about that. What's your, you know, take on that gap between the generations?
You know, I've just always been a servant leader my entire life in serving this community. So I've always had a sense of service, which is why I named my nonprofit, right? Service is a lifestyle. And I think one of the reasons I'm able to transcend generations, quite frankly, is through music, right? I've been a DJ all of these years, you know, I've always just stayed relevant, stayed on top of it, you know, and I've just been able to serve a variety of generations, right? An example of that is I did a Garfield. This is before the COVID hit. I did the Tolo dance. I DJ'd the dance, and there was a person there that was, I think, 15 or 16, but I had actually DJ'd the dance when they were in school, right? Okay. And this is like 20, you know, years ago. They're like 35 or 30, whatever, right? And so I did, you know, and then I've also worked at events, you know, with the mom. Right. And so, you know, in that particular case, you know, I'm with the grandma, the mom, and the daughter, right, who's in high school now. And so I'm able, and each one of those people has had their own experience with me via music. And then so that's what's allowed me to, you know, build relationships and really have a authentic tie to community. And then I'm able to expand across that because I'm a credible messenger. I'm already a known entity, you know, and so when things like the African American Males Weekend or just anything that I'm particularly involved in, people, you know, automatically say, oh, okay, well, yeah, I know him, right? And so that's what's been able to allow me to transcend, you know, so many generations and be able to work with folks and bridge those gaps.
Yeah, like you were saying, you know, the Virgo party, 25 years in the making, right? So
actually, yeah, this year, this will be 29 years.
Oh my
we've
God.
been doing, so I'm going to do something. We're really trying to figure out how we can do something virtually, but, you know, I just think that that's a crazy fact in its own self that we've done an event in Seattle for 29 years. And it's had many iterations. You know, one year it was a barbecue, you know, with a couple hundred people, all the
Right.
way to, you know, Showbox Soto
Yeah,
with
didn't you?
2,000 people.
You had it the Seattle Aquarium one year as well.
Yeah, that was about 1,600 people there that year, you know,
Yeah,
but again, it's been all over the place, and, you know, I just like to celebrate.
yeah, yeah. From one fellow Virgo to the next, Virgos rule the world hashtag, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, yeah. You are a past board president of the Southeast Youth and Family Services. You're
Yeah.
also a board member of YMCA Camping Services, a board member of Real Change Homeless Empowerment Project,
Yeah.
board member with Mothers for Police Accountability, which is huge, huge right now. So the fact that you have done that in the past really speaks volume to your commitment and dedication to the community. Let's go into this campaign that you're doing. You know, you've been the 37th District Executive Board, the 37th District Representative to the King County Democrats and the Democratic State Convention. So this is nothing really new to you, right? This is just kind of an extension of what you've done in the past.
Well, it is and it isn't, right? So, you know, as you mentioned, I've been a political operative and a volunteer in my community as a PCO, precinct committee officer, for several years now. And basically, that's a position. It is an elected position where you know, help get the vote out and get the word out about things, and engage your particular precinct or neighborhood. And so, yeah, I've been on I would say that I've been on the cusp of civic engagement for a long time. However, running an actual campaign as a candidate is an entirely different, you know, operation, which I'm learning about.
Nothing like the Virgo party.
Well, you know, it is and it isn't, right? I mean, obviously you have to build buzz and get people excited, and you know, I think that, so yeah, so it is kind of like an event where you know, you're definitely doing outreach, you're telling people about it. Hey, election's coming up, I'm running for office, blah blah blah, right? However, one of the things that's very different is that, especially in our community, you know, we see value, the party, you see value in that. It's your birthday, you're coming out, you want to spend money for that. You don't have a problem with that because you know exactly what you're getting. You know, it's in this great space or what have you. With politics, you're kind of making an investment in a candidate because you feel as though that candidate represents your values and stands for your community. However, there's no direct, it's not like you get something right now, right? So you have to invest in this thing, this virtual thing, the promise of a better day, right? Yeah. And I would say that African Americans, especially, you know, all people of color, you know, with America, the promises, you know, we've just had so many broken promises. It's very difficult for us as a community to invest in politics like that. So it's kind of I would say these are some of the hardest tickets I've ever sold.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not an event, right? And so, yeah, people, but that being said, I think that, you know, with the climate right now, with everything around George Floyd, and people understanding the connection between local elections and local policies, statewide policies and city policies, such as like the police contract and other things like that, people are starting to connect the dots. Like, well, wait a minute, we need to invest in these local elections. Yeah. And so that being said, you know, you know, it's just a different animal. You know, but yeah, most certainly I've been a volunteer and drove traffic, but now as a candidate, it's an entirely different animal. But hey, I'm up to the challenge. Let's go get it.
You say that you are the best person to represent the 37th district. You see this as a natural progression as someone who's dedicated over 3 decades of service to the district and to the city. you lived in the 37th district your whole life, or your whole adult life.
Yeah.
You're a homeowner, you're a business owner, your children go to school in this district. You are a lifelong advocate for the environment, and you have a proven track record of enhancing green spaces. So talk to me a little bit about that. What, you say you're the best person for the job. I believe that. I know that because I personally know you. And I've seen how you have pulled the community together. I can say every event of yours that I have attended over the years has been a celebration of life. People of all nationalities, of all ages, of all races have come together celebrating life. There have been, no fights, no craziness, no drama, no madness. They're always dressed to impress events. I know when I go to one of your events, everyone is going to be super fly. Last year, the New Year's Eve party that you had at the DoubleTree Hotel, that was,
Yeah, that
so.
was good.
We traveled. My fiance at the time, we traveled from Vegas, and we spent our New Year's in Seattle.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course, with many, many friends. But we knew what kind of event it was going to be, and that's why we traveled. That's why we went to the event. So we know, what kind of event, we know what kind of service we're going to get from you. So when it comes to you running for this second seat, tell us how you're the best person for the job.
Well, you know what? I feel as though I'm the best person for the job because my just the variety of my experiences here in the district as a volunteer and just as a community ambassador. Again, credible messenger, the voice of authenticity. And so I've put in a lot of service around here. And what we really need right now is somebody who has their finger on the pulse of our community. And can really bring folks together in a credible way. People feel as though the system doesn't care about us. And the death of George Floyd certainly represents that in the way that we've been treated, especially Black and brown people in the 37th district. We've consistently taken, the loss.
Yeah.
And whether it's through education, whether it's through home ownership, whether it's through police accountability, we are consistently at the bottom, and I think that in the new normal, people want somebody that really speaks for them in a credible way, and that's really one of the reasons I'm the best candidate for this. I'm most certainly qualified. I've worked at the city of Seattle for 23 years, where I've managed a $1 million+ budget for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of staff. I certainly influence and contribute to city policies, and some of those would include like the food action plan, our policies, our tree policies, viewpoint policies. I've contributed to many of those policies over the years. And so, like I said, most certainly as a candidate, I'm most definitely qualified. But I think that we need a little extra, of the essence of a person like me who has really spent their life in service to this community. And I think that folks see that and they want that. And so that's one of the reasons I'm running is I just want to, like my tagline there says above my head, is really just true representation.
Yes.
And like you said, I've been able to build a broad, diverse, number of people who've supported me over the years, and I want to take that to Olympia. The other reason that I'm running is that I've been working firsthand in our community in many areas, whether it's environment, whether it's youth, whether it's gun violence, whether it's police accountability, whether it's homelessness issues. And what I've found is that we really need to be able to drive resources to our community to be able to affect change in those areas in a real way. Currently, quite frankly, there's been a lot of lip service, right? While we most certainly enjoy many progressive policies that sound good on paper, and they sound good, when they're being delivered to us. Right. However, again, our community seems to always get the short end of the stick in reality. right? And so,
Right.
that's one of the reasons I'm running, and why I feel as though I'm the best candidate for this position, because I can use my, like I said, authenticity and credibility, and just knowledge of the on the ground in this district to
Right.
be able to
Right.
help bring resources to our community to make change.
Yeah, I want to take you back to a moment in the past when one of your very, very good friends was actually murdered in Seattle. And I don't remember the gentleman's name, but I do remember yourself, Jamar Jones, this person, you guys were very well known in the community. Again, the popular events, the Virgo party, and you lost a very good friend of yours. And as I understand, that murder is still unsolved, correct?
Yeah, Tyrone Love, he was murdered 11 years ago, this past February on President's Day, 2009. And he was very close to myself and Jamar and some of the other promoters in town. He was an up and coming promoter, but more importantly, he was he was a credible messenger. He was a community ambassador, much like myself. He volunteered around the community.
Mm-hmm.
He worked at the YMCA for his day job.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of felt like he was a young a young cut,
Yeah.
right? And with a lot of promise. And so, when we got the call that he had been murdered that Monday after President's Day, it was just it was shocking, again, but and it just kind of spoke to just the overall problem of gun violence in our community, and murder in our community, and how we need to work to solve that in violence. So I've been working on violence reduction and youth violence reduction and gun responsibility for a long time, and
Did
I want to continue to work on that in Olympia.
did that event, 11 years ago, did that kind of reveal to you the desperate need for true representation in the city of Seattle? Did back then, did you kind of see this road to politics for yourself at all?
Well, you know what? I didn't see in particular then that I would be doing this now. But after that, we did work to fight against the gang bill that Governor Gregoire passed later that year, or that year in 2009. And so we worked on that. It really did speak to the fact that we're under-resourced in our
Yes.
community,
Yes.
and that until we really invest in our children in a real way through, education and wraparound services, and invest in families,
Yes.
it's going to always be an issue until we go to some of the roots of the problem. And so, that's another reason why I'm running for office now,
Yeah.
because I've seen, I've just seen how we have so many organizations trying to, kind of work on their own around these issues,
Yes.
right? But, in addition to that grassroots and groundswell, we really need to be able to affect policies and funding to, drive resources to
Right.
our community or institutions,
Right.
and also be able to look at policies and the systematic racism that's kind of baked into our system
Right.
that perpetuates the status quo.
Yes, I work in the legal field and have for 17 years. And,
Mhm.
I love seeing the peaceful protests, and I love seeing our communities, really getting behind the Black Lives Matter movement, and, people really using their voice. But being a legal professional and understanding politics from a legal perspective, the only way we are going to change policy is to draft proposed legislation and lobby that. That is the only true as your tagline is, that is the only true way to change the policies, to change, to change laws, for things to be different. And we definitely need individuals like you who understand that process and who will actually take action, because that is the only way it is going to change. We can, be on social media, we can use our voice, we can speak, we can hashtag, we can do all those things, but the policy is not going to change unless we've got proposed legislation that we actually push to get adopted into law. And it's a very, very, very challenging process.
Well, no, you're completely right. And I think, like I said earlier, this is a time where people are really starting to connect those dots. And one of the places that, I've been connecting the dots for people is that, hashtag insert the name, but so many people have been killed by the police. And, one of the things that a lot of many young people in the community marching and upset and protesting and all the like, and they say, well, you shouldn't be able to kill somebody and be on administrative leave. Well, that is the policy that they negotiated in their contract, right? And so, that's the policy. And so, yeah, we can be upset about it now, but what we need to do is keep our eye, on the contract, and then also in the policies that surround the contract, and then also our elected officials who negotiate away our rights. And people are starting to connect those two dots, and they say, well, wait a minute, it's, while we most certainly can be upset because, these officers, some of them who seem to have lost their moral compass. However, they've negotiated these rights in their contract, and I guess they would say that they're due their administrative leave. And so, as a pragmatic person who actually, I work for the city, and I've been a represented employee, part of a union, I most certainly could see that, which is why, I'm trying to educate people around the fact that we really need to invest in local elections. We need to keep our eye on the contracts. We need to keep our eye on the policies. And, one of the problems with this, right, is that, and what I'm hoping to do in office here is really bring a lens to kind of keep community engaged around this, because honestly, it's pretty boring. You said you're in the legal form, who wants to read, this 12-page brief, right, about whatever.
Yeah,
right?
12 pages, that's actually really small. 12, I'm thinking like 158 pages.
Yeah, and it's just not exciting. It's not sexy. It's most certainly not a Virgo party, right? But that's what's led us to this right now, is that and this is an important moment in history where we have a chance, right, to really make change, but we have to really keep the pressure on, and we need to know how to pivot from protest to policy. And if we can make that pivot and keep people engaged, then, I think we have a chance for real change. And because we've all been here before, most certainly, a big portion of America has not been here before. But many communities of color have all been here before. We've all been mad, we've protested, we've done this or that. But this is a chance for us to really make change. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running.
Yes, we've got to look at those policies, like you said. Absolutely. So let's get to the exciting stuff. 37th District State Representative Seat 2, Chukundi Salisbury. True representation, right? True representation. You have to, I know, so okay, back on June 29th, I'm going to back up a little bit. Andrea Campaign, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Campaign.
I don't live in Seattle anymore, so I don't know who the representatives are. But she exited the race, and she actually endorsed you, okay? And
that's great.
Yeah, she gave her reason, why she dropped out. I have my own opinion why she did. I think, in my opinion, she realized who she was up against and understood understood, and this is so important, Kun. She really, I believe, you know, because anybody in politics knows you really have to be for the people, whoever you're serving, and you know, to realize who you are and how deeply rooted in your community and in the 37th district that you are. I mean, who can run against you? I don't know, but how did that make you feel? How, when she dropped out
you
the
know
race
what?
and endorsed you, how did you feel? Like, I read the, you know, I read the article, The Stranger, and you were very humble in your response. But how you had to, that had to be like kind of an aha moment for you. How did it make you feel?
Well, of course, it made me feel great. You know, any time that somebody, I mean, because you got to realize that, you know, Andrea had a lot invested in this campaign, and she had, you know, many supporters and endorsements as well. And to be able to rise above that and make that personal decision to suspend her campaign and support us really was, you know, like I said, it is pretty exciting. You know, but at the end of the day, I've always ran a high-level campaign. I never had anything to say bad about her or my other opponents. You know, it's not that I'm not anti them. I'm just pro me. And you know, yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, I would say, you know, Andrea specifically, you know, I've researched her work, and it's not as front-facing as my work, where, you know, I've always been this kind of community guy. I'm at the game. You know, I'm coaching. I'm an umpire, whatever. You know, and I'm just out here. You know, my understanding is that Andrea's worked for years behind the scenes. You know, over here, you know, at her organization, Bird Bar, where they do, you know, they've got a food bank, and they do utility payment support for folks, and just all types of wraparound services. So I would say that she has been working on our behalf. You know, it's just kind of been quiet. And so, you know, again, I think that most certainly, you know, at least the top people in the race are most certainly capable and able of doing this job, and are all great candidates.
Yes.
I just feel as though I'm the best candidate. I mean, you know, and why wouldn't I think that, right? And so, yeah, I was very excited about it, and I called and thanked her for that. You know, and she just kind of told me, she said, "Hey, you know what? It's your time." You know, and you know, she's still interested in running for office one day, but she said, you know, it's your time, and you go ahead, right? And I thought that was really gracious of her, and I thanked her for it.
Yeah. It is your time. It definitely is your time, for sure. Let's talk about your endorsements. I know earlier this week, I believe, you sat down with the Seattle Times editorial board seeking their endorsement.
I did.
Yeah. So how important are endorsements in a campaign? You know, for our audience members who are watching, you might be empowering somebody to get involved in politics and really get involved in their local community, as we talk about, you know, proposed legislation and policy, and what it really requires to create change. So how important are endorsements?
Well, I think they're pretty important. I mean, obviously, I want as many endorsements as I can get, you know, and you know, if I don't get them, I don't. But if I do, I'm most certainly happy about it. But we're running a real community campaign that's based in the community of the 37th district, and so I've really been more focused on community names and community leaders and folks who actually either, you know, live, work, and you know, or own a business in the district. And to that end, you know, from my perspective, you know, I most certainly, like I said, I most certainly would like more organizational endorsements. But I'm happy to have people like, you know, Ted Howard, the former principal at Garfield High School. You know, I'm happy to have folks, you know, like Yosh Ono, who owns one of the biggest construction companies in our district. All the, you know, many restaurants in our district, you know, business owners who support my campaign. And, you know, so I'm really, you know, faith leaders like Reverend Willis and Reverend Kelly Brown and Paul Benz. And, you know, so there's many, you know, I've got people from every walk of life, whether it's, you know, Tim Harris from Real Change, Reverend Rick from Operation Night Watch. So, and leaders in every industry or issue, if you will, that's relevant to this campaign. I've got people who live and or work in the district who are supporting this campaign. And so I'm going to be relying on community support and that's why my tagline is true representation. I would say that many of the organizational endorsements come from folks who don't live in the district, and so and so and this time, and I think in the past, I think endorsements are very important and most certainly will still be. However, in this election, I think people are starting to look at their candidates and they want to do their research on their own. And they're not just gonna blindly follow, this, just kind of vote down the line, what have you. So we'll see, but again, I think that, what we're gonna focus on is getting the word out and explaining to people that we have true representation through community support. And that's what's gonna carry us to victory in November.
Yes. I agree completely. 100% agree. I think it's a very different approach in politics. Like you said, most people kind of just vote straight down the line. And it's time for a change. We definitely need, politicians who are representing their communities and being a voice for us, because we have not had that for so long.
Right.
So let's talk about, I know you're hosting weekly updates every week. Want to talk a little bit about your fundraising, how to donate, people sharing their support of you and your campaign, how people can host a house party with Shikhandi. So we might not be having an event right now, but we can definitely have a Zoom house party with you. And then also phone banking. So let's start with people sharing the support. Obviously, social media is very powerful, right? And so we want people to use the hashtag Shikhandi37, hashtag Shikhandi37 with the TH on the bottom of it. So if you are going to post anything for your support for Shikhandi and his campaign, definitely use that hashtag, because we definitely want to be able to follow that. And I would love to see it trending. I would love to see that hashtag trending on any social media platform.
Indeed.
So for those of you who are watching on Facebook, on Twitter, please share a post. You can go to Shikhandi's page on Facebook, on Twitter. You can share a post of his, use that hashtag. You can also make a post of your own. And again, use the hashtag, but you also want to know who's supporting you, right? You want to know who's sharing your posts. So you actually have somebody in your campaign. I believe his name is Hart.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you guys post anything on social media, we want you to take a screenshot of it, and we want you to email it to Hart at Hart, H-A-R-T, at Shikhandi.com. Again, Hart, H-A-R-T, at Shikhandi.com. Send him your screenshots. Show him and show Kun the support that you guys are giving them. We definitely want to see that. So talk to us a little bit about donations. You and I had a brief conversation last week when I called you for your pre-interview phone call. And I'll tell you guys, this is so funny. I hadn't, done all of my political research on Kun. I just wanted to get him on the phone because I'd been trying to for a couple of weeks. I just wanted to talk to him, and I have his phone number. Like, I can call him directly, right? And he got on the phone and he was like, check this out, Miss Camay, go to the website, read the website, and I'm like, I will, I promise. So I want you to talk to us about donating. How can somebody donate to your campaign? And talk a little bit about it. Like, do the math. Last week we talked about the math. And the amount of money that it costs to actually run a successful campaign. So talk to us a little bit about that. Very important.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way our system is set up here is that, politics, you really need money to run. And again, so we're trying to run a community campaign, and we're looking for folks to donate. and really step out on that leap of faith, knowing that you're investing in a candidate, myself here, that is going to carry your voice to Olympia, and be able to work on state-wide issues that matter to you, as a person that's supporting the campaign. And so, most certainly we want people to be able to go to Shikhandi.com, and I'm sure it'll be in the link when folks can watch this, but Shikhandi, CHUKUNDI.com, and just click on the donation button. Again, it takes a lot of money. So we're looking at, to really win a seat like this, you're looking at anywhere from really from $80,000 to $120,000. By the time you line up staff, all your mailings, perhaps you might do a television commercial. Yeah, all those things cost to do, and we most certainly need the money to be able to do them. And we need everyone's support. And like I said, it is a leap of faith that we're asking people, right? Because unlike the Virgo Party tickets or whatever, we've been involved in the past, you had this known thing that you were getting directly and immediately, or you knew when it was going to come to you, right? But within politics, you're basically, investing in the fact that I'm carrying your voice, and that, we're going to be able to vote and drive policies and resources that affect our community. Yes. You might not see that immediately today, right? Right. And so that's the key, right? Is that we have to believe in the process and be able to work on this, and we need the funds to be able to do it. So to that end, if you're supporting the campaign, please, make a donation, even $1, $5, $10, $100. It all adds up. And and then it also speaks to the community traction that we have around our campaign. Right. We most certainly, and so that's where a lot of people, especially, so that's one of the things, especially I can talk about that. Especially with COVID and affecting many of the people that we know, at least that I know here in Seattle, they've been affected financially by COVID-19. Oh, yes. And folks just don't have the resources that they, wish they had right now, especially to give to a political campaign when you're trying to pay rent. Yes. And so what happens is we have, many people who want to give, but they just wanted to do more. And so in the absence of being able to do more, they won't do anything. So they kind of think it's, oh, you know what, I'll just, I'm going to save up. I really want to give Kun's campaign $100, right? He deserves it. That's our guy, rolling with him. But the fact of the matter is, the way your situation is set up right now, you're most likely not going to be able to save that actual 100 to give, right? And so, it's much more important for you just to give, $25. Right. But inside of those people, it's not me. They're feeling some kind of way. They say, well, Kun deserves more than that. I want to give him more. Yeah. Right. And I'm saying, well, break it up into installments. Yes. Give what you can today. Yes. We need you to give what you can today, right, to help the campaign, and most certainly put something else on it as we move forward. Right. But we really need folks to give today because, obviously I talked about the things, that cost a lot of money to do. But just as important, it puts a stake in the ground, and it says, to the world, because you have to put your name and stuff in there around your donation. It says to the world that I am in fact standing with Shikhandi on this election. Yes. And that's what we need. Yes. $250 lets you mail to 150 voters. Right. Actually, yeah, I think that was a typo. We can mail to a lot more people than that for $250. Okay. That's even better. That's even better. Yeah. $100, just $100 helps pay for digital ads. Yeah. Right. Okay. And $25, a simple $25 donation, and that is a lot of money, as you said, to some people.
they can actually make a donation this week, make a donation next week, the following week, to add up to $25. $25 gets 5 yard signs put in the ground.
Yeah,
with
we most certainly need those.
Yeah, with true representation posted all over it, right?
Yes, indeed.
So talk to us in closing. Like I mentioned that, people can host a house party with you. There's also phone banking that people can do. If they're interested, they can also contact Hart at his email address for these opportunities. But talk a little bit about the phone banking and then your house parties. Talk about that.
Well, you know what? In the age of COVID, right? So if we were running last year, we'd be out knocking on doors right now. We would be going door to door, meeting people, getting to meet the candidate, hearing from community about their issues and what's important to them in the district and beyond, and in regards to also statewide politics. But we're unable to really knock on doors and engage people in a physical way. Yeah. And so we're really dependent on activities like these house parties that folks have been doing, Zoom calls. A lot of people are already having a Zoom call with their girlfriends or their guys, and it's like a wine. And, you see that I believe it was Amazon or one of the streaming services just added a thing where you can watch a movie together, right? So people are already interacting online. And so we most certainly need, we just want to take advantage of that. And so we're asking people to host a virtual house party with your friends, and I could come on, or somebody can come on from the campaign and really answer questions specific to, what you are particularly into, so I've hosted, house parties with church groups, house parties around childcare, house parties around education. I've got a house party with the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha this Friday. I've hosted a couple of happy hours. I hosted a happy hour with the brothers of the Royal Esquire Club last Friday. Nice. And so, I've just that's just the new effective way to get the word out about our campaign, and also to hear from your constituents what the community needs, what they want. Exactly, to really be able to take that feedback, because I want to carry that to Olympia. And then in terms of volunteerism, one of the things that you hear sometimes is phone banking, and that's where we've got a list of numbers of identified voters, people that have voted consistently in the past or not as consistently, and we are basically just kind of cold calling them and telling them about the campaign. And so our volunteers, we've got lots of volunteers, but we could always use more. Sure. And they're just using that list to just make phone calls on behalf of the campaign. And so we need that. Go ahead. Well, no, I was just going to say that folks want to do that. We need you to do that. Again, as many contact points as that we can have with our, with folks and voters in the district here, it's going to be imperative as on our path to victory. And so, the other part is that, we'll call a couple of people maybe once or twice and perhaps 3 times. And so we can have, different folks calling, a variety of folks, and it's just a real way that people can support the campaign and work on the campaign from home. Yeah. Anybody that's interested in volunteering with the Shikhandi campaign, if you're interested in phone banking, if you want to host a house party, if you have issues as a constituent that you want to share with Shikhandi, reach out to Hart. How do you say his last name? Hart. Heffelfinger. That's a hard one for me. Heffelfinger. Email Hart at Shikhandi.com. He can help you get you set up for phone banking. He can also talk to you about hosting a house party. Can we get DJ Kun Luv at the house party on Zoom? Can we do that? Yeah, I'm actually working on an event now with Tiffany Wilson and some other folks to pump up the campaign. So, stay tuned for that. Nice. Let's talk about mail-in ballots.
in closing, so ballots are going to be mailed out July
17th.
They will be mailed out, and they are due postmarked no later than August 4th, correct?
That is right.
Yes. So you guys in the 37th district in Seattle, first of all, we need to make sure you're registered to vote. You can register to vote. It's very, very easy. You can do it online. I'm sure Shikhandi's volunteer and team can actually help direct you if you just cannot find how to register to vote. Register to vote.
Yeah, actually, you know what? People can go to UrbVote, URBVOTE.org, urbvote.org, and you can register to vote there.
Got it. Perfect. Register to vote. Look out for that ballot that's going to be mailed out. You should get it a couple of days after, but that's when they're being mailed out, is July 17th. And make sure you get them in the mail postmarked by August 4th. Those are the deadline, you guys. In closing, Kun, I have so much love for you. I'm so proud of you for what you're doing. It takes quite a lifetime king to run for any position in politics.
Right.
There are big players in politics, and the higher up you go in campaigns and representation, the more challenging that it gets. So I applaud you. I'm supporting you all the way here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm definitely sharing my message and my support of you with all of my family and all of my friends in Seattle. I want people to know how they can connect with you. I'm not going to give them your phone number because that's only for special people like Miss Camay. But how can people connect with you? Where can they find you? How can they connect with you in your campaign?
Well, you know what? Folks can just follow me on any social platform at CHUKUNDI, and just, type search, and I'm right there, Chukundi Salisbury. And like I said, I'm very responsive. And then, my email is shikhundi@shikhundi.com. So very easy to find and very responsive.
And if they can't find you that way, just Google the Virgo party and they'll find you there, right?
Well, they'll find Kun Luv. They'll find Kun Luv there, right? And so, we would definitely want folks to find Shikhandi, right, to get information about the campaign and how we're moving forward. And if you like some historical perspective on how we've done it in the past, and they can most certainly Google that.
Yeah. It's such an honor to have you on the show today, Kun. I love you so much. Best of luck to you in your campaign. I will continue to support you here from Vegas. And all of our Seattle family and friends I know they're definitely behind you. So good luck to you. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay focused, keep your eye on the prize, and never look back. Never look back.
I'm on it. All right. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love the exposure, and I love the support that you've, continued to show when you were here and even out of town. Like you said, you came back for our New Year's Eve party, and you've just been a consistent presence around for years now, over a decade. And looking forward to the next decade. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kun. Have a fabulous day. We'll chat soon.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.